Our story starts right here in the city of Sheffield in South Yorkshire. Famous for its steel, its two football clubs, Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday, and of course the snooker World Championships at the Crucible. And it was also the home of two young best friends, Richard Beck and Lee McAllister. Now these young lads have been friends for as long as they could remember. In fact, they even classed each other as brothers, seeing as they were both only children. They'd pretty much only ever had each other. Now they'd both grown up on a council estate in a tough part of Sheffield, and both had very different upbringings. Now Rich's family may have been poor, but what they lacked in money they made up for with love. His mum and dad worked their fingers to the bone to give him everything they possibly could, which wasn't a lot, but Rich was very grateful for the life he had at home. Lee, on the other hand, his father had left him and his mother as a baby, and although his mother loved him, she was quite often absent, and a string of stepfathers and boyfriends had left their mark on this young man, and not in a good way. But what they did have was each other. Now they may not have had an Xbox or a PlayStation at home, but what they did have was a football, and they spent every minute of every day, whenever they could, kicking that ball about, playing together on youth teams around Sheffield all the way up to their teenage years. Rich was a fantastic young striker and Lee a brilliant little midfielder. And as soon as they hit their teenage years, they were spotted by the club they loved the most, Sheffield Wednesday. Both were signed up to the academy and both started to flourish quickly. Now Rich was obviously the more talented, but they both still had dreams and ambitions to one day play for their beloved Sheffield Wednesday. But soon, cracks were going to form in this one super strong friendship, because there was a new girl at school. Her name was Jessica, and Lee McAllister was absolutely besotted with her. He'd stay up all night telling his friend Rich how much he loved this girl. Problem was, this girl Jessica was madly in love with Rich, and Rich was in love with her too. And for a while he tried to fight it. He didn't want to break his friend's heart, but young love fought through, and soon Rich and Jessica were an official couple. Now Lee loved his best friend. He'd always been jealous of his stable upbringing compared to his own. He'd always loved going around Rich's house. He never wanted to go home. He never knew what man was going to be there. But now Rich had stolen the girl of his dreams. Frustrations had started to build in Lee's mind. Jealousy, envy. He started to get angry at his friend. He'd also started to get influenced by his mother's latest boyfriend, who was one of the biggest drug dealers in Sheffield, and he was getting Lee to do different jobs for him, and Lee was earning quite a lot of money, even though he was doing some very dangerous things. Now, not long after the lads had turned 17, they both got called to the manager's office at Hillsborough, both of them thinking they were going to be signing new deals. Now Rich did sign a new deal. Sheffield Wednesday saw him as the future of the Owls, a superstar striker wonder kid that was going to take him back to the Premier League. But the club had also heard a few things about Lee McAllister and what he'd been getting up to in his free time, and it was stuff that was really affecting his football development. They'd made a decision not to re-sign Lee McAllister, and they released him. As Lee left Hillsborough as a young footballer for the last time, with his football career seemingly over, that was it. That was enough. Something cracked in this young man's mind. The jealousy, the envy, everything just built up and exploded. Why does Rich have all the love? Why does Rich have the girl? Why is Rich going to become a footballer? I'm going to have nothing. I'm going to be selling drugs on the streets of Sheffield. He wasn't going to have this. He decided he was going to get some payback. It was time for a little revenge. So he lured his so-called best friend into a trap. He said to Rich he was going to treat him to a McDonald's to celebrate him getting his new contract. It was his best friend. He was happy for him, even though secretly he envied him and had started to hate him. So he'd stolen some drugs off his current mother's boyfriend. He stashed them in Rich's car. And while Rich was inside McDonald's, he sneaked into the toilet, phoned the police, and he told them there was a drug dealer at McDonald's in the car park. He ran across the road, hid behind a wall, and waited for the police to arrive. And when the police arrived, they arrested Rich on the spot. There was no way he could prove they weren't his drugs. It was his car. Where was Lee? Couldn't be Lee. What the hell was going on? And the police wanted to pin this on someone, and that someone was going to be Rich Beck. The judge decided to give him the maximum sentence he could. His life was going to be over. Everyone thought he was a drug dealer. He was never going to be a footballer. Jessica had left him and gone off to Australia to become a bikini model. He couldn't believe that Lee would have done this. Lee was the only person that could have done this. Why would Lee do this to him? And as he entered that cell for the first time with a long stretch ahead of him, all he could think about was everything he lost and how he was an innocent man. And as the years rolled on by and Rich got older and older, he just stayed focused that one day he could prove his innocence. He tried to keep fit and play football whenever he could, hoping that if he ever did get out, maybe, just maybe, he might still have a chance to play football. Maybe he could find Jessica and fix everything. But for now, he was rotting in prison. But after 10 years had passed, someone had grown older. Someone had spent those 10 years feeling guiltier and guiltier about what they'd done, about the friend's life they'd destroyed. So they walked into a police station in Sheffield and admitted to everything. Lee couldn't handle it anymore. He held his hands up, gave all the evidence, and said, "I did it, Gov." And within a week, Rich had been released and Lee had taken his place in Wakefield prison. Now, as he walked free from the prison, Rich felt joy. No longer did anyone look down on him. No longer did anyone think he was a drug dealer. He was now 27 years old. He'd lost 10 years of his life. He'd lost his football career. He'd lost the love of his life. And most of all, he'd lost the person he thought was his best friend, his brother, the person he trusted the most. He had no idea what he was going to do, but he was going to try his best to maybe, just maybe, get back into football. And that's exactly what happened. The whole story was big news across Sheffield. Now he was a free man and an innocent man. People started to talk about how good this lad was when he was a teenager. And local non-league side Chesterfield decided to snap him up on a 2-year deal, give him an opportunity. Rich was so happy. This was it. He didn't care what level it was at. He just wanted to play football. He wanted a chance to show he could do it, and a chance to maybe, just maybe, play for his beloved Sheffield Wednesday one day. So welcome to the story of The Last Chance with Rich Beck. As always, thanks for joining me. It's massively appreciated. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, get involved in the comments, subscribe if you're new, and if you do enjoy my story videos and you've never seen one of these before, and there'll be a playlist link down below. I've done them over the years. There's about 30 odd on there. Maybe you could go back and watch some. But thank you for sitting here now and giving me your view. It is massively appreciated. So yeah, we're going to follow the story now of 27-year-old Rich Beck, who's missed 10 years of his life, lost the best years, some might say, lost his girlfriend, betrayed by his best friend, but now he's out. He's in the non-league, but he's not going to be the player he was. He's not going to be a superstar because he never developed. He could have been. Just want you to imagine he was a wonder kid. He was going to go on to be one of the best strikers the world has ever seen. But can he still salvage his career? What's his career going to be like at 27? We're going to find out today because it is quite interesting. These things always take odd turns, and there's one odd turn in this, so we'll find out. I was just hoping he could go back to Sheffield Wednesday one day, because it'd be nice, that, wouldn't it? Eh? Fulfill his full dream. The kid deserves it. He'd done nothing wrong apart from get the fit bird and be good at football. Honestly, Lee McAllister hopefully rots in prison. So let's get into the story and find out how Rich Beck's career got on. So here we are on his playing history, and he had many years in the youth team at Sheffield Wednesday, playing in under 18s. Didn't really do much for them, but when he got to under 23s, he started to play and he started to score goals. In his last season before he went to prison, he was next level, scoring more goals than he played games. But then you'll see now there's a 10-year gap from being 17 to 27 where he's been in prison. And I mean, he could go to the gym, he might have had an hour a day to play a bit of football, but it has affected him. But still, when you got skill, you got skill. And here he is, 27-year-old Rich Beck. Out and out striker. He's professional. Shoots with power, places his shots, tries first time shots, and does not move into channels. I don't know why that's there. Now, he is a good player still. Obviously, would have been next level if he hadn't been at prison. Can use both feet. He was gifted. So he's still quick, but he's not as quick as he could be. Sitting in a cell 23 hours a day. Strong though, fit, kept himself fit. He's brave. He's determined, of course. He's been fully focused. And he's still got skill. Technique's okay. Finishing's good. I mean, he's currently in the non-league, in the Vanarama National with Chesterfield. Way too good for that level, but what kind of level could he get to? Well, he's got a 2-year deal, £1,000 a week, which ain't bad for someone who's absolutely skint. And I was proper excited, I'll be honest with you, to find out what happened to him. And like I said, I thought it'd be cool if he went to Sheffield Wednesday, because of course he's a Sheffield Wednesday fan, and he loves Chesterfield because they've given him his opportunity, his avenue back into football. I do wonder, will Lee McAllister be watching from prison? Still kind of proud. He grew up, he matured, just felt guilty. He wasn't really a bad kid. He just had it harder and just snapped one day. And his dreams were taken away. His girlfriend, she never was his girlfriend. I can't believe she buggered off to Australia being a bikini model. I won't tell you who she is though, but I can't wait for people to ask. Now then, we're going to jump forward 3 years, because he had 1 year at Chesterfield and he's now currently had 2 years at Brentford, and this is just before he's about to make another move. So he made it quite high. Brentford are a fantastic club. Let's see what he's been doing. Well, for Chesterfield in the Vanarama National, he tore it up. Fantastic average rating. Actually helping the club finish second, although they didn't go up. Grimsby went up in the playoffs and Wrexham were champions. And he also got to the English FA Trophy final and lost that. So he didn't win anything, but I don't know if Chesterfield would have been that good without Rich Beck in the team. But of course, after one season, his value hadn't increased. His value was low, and if you look at the quality of the player he is, even though he's missed so much football, 58 grand is an absolute bargain, and Brentford are going to make some killer profit off this. So he went straight to the Premier League, which is fantastic. Obviously with Brentford, they're not the biggest club, no offence if you're a Brentford fan, but I think that's great for him, that kind of club, that kind of level. It's awesome. He managed 10 goals in his first year. The next year, 3 goals. So this is where maybe 10 years in prison has affected him, because, in a different universe, Rich Beck would have been 30 goal a year guy in the Premier League. So he's still a good player though, because he gets another big move. And this is what he looks like right now, and he's okay. I don't think he's improved. I don't think he's got any worse. 29 years old, about to turn 30. So he's not got a lot of time left, and he needs to maximise it. And I think that's what helped him make this choice, because he moved to Everton for 26 million. That is some deal for Brentford. Fantastic bit of business. That's what they're doing it though, to be fair, buy guys from lower levels and sell them on for profit. So that's pretty cool. So he's gone to Everton, and he's just currently spent 3 seasons there. Still not scoring a lot of goals, but he must be a good player. He must be. He's 7 goals, 2 goals. Not played as much either, but he had a bit of competition. And he did actually win something with Everton. He won the Europa Cup. How cool's that? So they got into the Champions League, lost the European Super Cup. Fair play. But it looks like he spent time down in the 23s. At least he won something there. He won the Premier Division Cup with the under 23s. Is that because of injury or because he's getting dropped back? But when you look at something, he must believe in himself. He might not be an out-and-out goal scorer, but he must add something to that team, because he's asked to leave at this point. He wants to leave to play in the Champions League, right? And he's actually wanted. So if you go to his profile, he has improved. His finishing's got better. He's got 17 finishing now. Now I was shocked when I saw that. I thought, he had a taste of the Champions League. It's not like he's banging the goals in, but he must, he must be rated in the football world, because when you go and he's wanted by Arsenal and City, who are both in the Champions League. So he wants Champions League football, then 2 Champions League teams want him. And he's about to join one of them. Now, I wouldn't have if I was him. And I don't know why he did it, and I don't know why the club did it. Because he signs for Man City for 16.75 million. Only plays him 3 times, and he doesn't score. And then in the January transfer window, they sell him. So I don't know why did the computer do this? I mean, I was thinking, maybe City have signed him because what a backup striker, he's English, he might help with the quota in Europe. But why spend 16.75 million on someone only to sell him on in January. To Saudi Arabia. To Al Hilal. I mean, at least he's prolific there. Scored 9 goals in 8 games. And again, I think he looks exactly the same as he did a year ago. Just when I saw that, because basically what I've done is I've saved it every year. Sometimes I'll jump forward 5 years and 5 years, but because his career was so short, I didn't know what twists and turns it's done. I saved it every year and I was checking in. And when I saw like City and Arsenal wanted him, I didn't think it'd go through. Then I saw he went to City, and then I saw this, and it kind of weirded me out. But fair play to the kid. He's on 135 grand a week. He's 33 years old. It's like the shortest career ever. This has got to be the end at this club. But you never know. He might leave, he might come home, he might get to Sheffield Wednesday. But here we are. He's now 36, it's 2031, and he's had 3.5 years with Al Hilal out in Saudi Arabia, and he's been great for them. I mean, his first full season, he was fantastic. Second season, he was pretty good. Might have tailed off a little bit, 36 years old. But I still think he looks good. I think on paper, he looks the same kind of player, even though he's now a veteran striker, as he did when he started. Even his finishing is still 17. So he managed to hone that a little bit. He never got an England cap. I think he'd have been a good punt, sticking the England squad as a backup, surely. But he never made that, which is unfortunate. And he got a pay rise. Look at that, 165 grand a week. So he's made big time money out in Saudi Arabia. And last year was a runner-up in the Asian Champions League. I mean, he's got a Europa League winners medal, a couple of runners-up, and a under-23 Premier League Cup medal. But when I got to this point as well, I thought, there's still a bit left in the old dog. Because when you go on his information, it says he wants to win a trophy and is excited at the team's chances in the Champions League. Expects to play in the game against yada yada yada. Now, to me, that looks like someone who's fully focused. You know what I mean? He's still ready to go. But pretty much a month later, he retired. I was like, really? After reading that at the end of the season, I thought, yeah, we're getting another year out of you here, Rich. No, Rich has decided to retire at 37 years old. I think he's still a good player. I've made him naturally fit, so his career should have lasted longer. And I thought he would last a little bit longer, especially the way he was talking. But he decided to call it quits. We still managed 10 years in the game. 10 years where, most of us snapped their hand off for that kind of career. 27 to 37, starting at Chesterfield, Brentford, Everton, that weird brief little stint at Man City, and then making big time money out in Saudi Arabia, where, he became a legend, scored a lot of goals. I was just gutted, really, because you never know these things are going to work out. And having him a Sheffield Wednesday fan, I was hoping they might try. Maybe they never had the money. When he's earning that kind of money, they're never going to be able to compete with those kind of wages. I would have liked him to finish his career at Wednesday and play for his beloved Owls just once. Would have been nice. But he did manage a lot of goals, really. I mean, if you add all his youth goals as well, he was still a good player. Now, this is his biography, and of course, he didn't win too much. He won a couple of awards. He did win the Golden Boot runner-up in the Europa League, so he was massive in Everton, winning the Europa League in 2025. And yeah, just a little, why didn't you go back to Sheffield Wednesday? I mean, you can't plan these things, you just got to see how it pans out. Well, that's the fun of it, I suppose. Well, there you go, that is the end of The Last Chance. I just wanted to see what it'd be like to stick in a lad who'd missed all those years, put him in at 27, make him a decent player, and just see where the game took him. And I thought it was quite interesting. You know what I mean? I think I'd be proud of that career, to be fair. He made a bad move going to City, but it pushed him out to Saudi Arabia, helped him make a fortune, and after a very messy divorce, he went out to Australia. He found Jessica, who was also divorced, and they managed to rekindle their romance. So you know what? We've got a full happy ending. And especially because Lee McAllister is still rotting away in a jail in Wakefield. Do want Lee. Anyway, thank you for watching. Really do appreciate it. It's just a bit of fun. I enjoy making these. Got a couple more planned and lined up. The next one's going to be called Adversity. I'm well excited about that one. It's crazy, but good. So yeah, stay happy, stay safe. Make sure you go and watch all my other content, especially Manchester Central. If you haven't checked that out yet, go and watch it. One of my favourite series of all time. I love it to pieces, so hopefully you do. But yeah, stay happy, stay safe. I'm Bood. Bye-bye.